Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. And what is this video about? Well, I'm going to make some minimal dub techno in Ableton Live. What does that mean? Well, when I say minimal, I mean using very little, nearly next to no musical instrumentation. When I say dub, I mean using loads of send and returns with reverbs and delays in order to create the textures that will eventually be the landscape of the piece. And techno will be the musical language in which I will be speaking in order to make the people dance, although the people dancing, they're in my imagination at this stage. Really, all I'm going to do is just get a kick drum and run it into loads of reverbs and delays and resonators, feed them back into themselves and sort of create this interesting sort of network playground of stuff to explore that may or may not take me on a journey. I don't know. We'll find out. So that's what we're going to do, and it's going to be very interesting. So first of all, I'm going to get a DS kick. You can use any kick that you want, whether it's a sample or a synth. I'm just using this one. That's fine. And then I'm going to go to, let's say, 130 BPM, and I'm going to draw in this pattern like this. Now, because I'm doing dub techno, I want to talk a little bit about musical language. The vernacular, if you will, of certain styles and genres, especially when it comes to dance music. I'm personally of the belief system that a dance music style or genre is defined by where the kick and the snare is. So, for example, if I was to do something like this, that's pretty techno, right? But we're doing dub techno, and dub is a little bit more syncopated. It's got a little bit more of a sort of a shunt and a offbeat. So I'm simply going to take that last kick drum and move it back 1/16th note, and then we get this. Okay, that's pretty dub techno to me. So already we can start by just creating something on some of these sends and returns. So I'm going to delete what's on this return track A. I'm going to rename it and I'm going to call it Resonator. I'm going to call it Resonator 1. And I'm going to go and get the spectral resonator from the effects. Where is it? There it is. I'm going to put the spectral resonator on this track. I'm going to put the dry weights up. I'm going to set this to note and I'm going to go down to C1. And I'm going to feed now this kick into this resonator. Okay, it's interesting. A little bit of high damp, maybe. That's kind of just going to be a sort of bass line to start with. Now, minimal. So I'm really going to try and do everything that I can just using this kick drum as a trigger. Everything. The bass line, the hi-hat, the pads or something. I don't know. Let's see. So what could we do to make some hi-hats? Well, I'm going to make a second return track. I've got one here already. Delay B. So let's set this to 16th notes. Turn the feedback up quite high. And now just send the kick drum into this return track. Okay, so it's kind of doing this. They are not linked, so let's link them. Let's put them to 1/16th note. Okay, so we're just getting 16th note echoes. So I'm going to filter this quite considerably with a high pass. There we go. So now we've kind of just got these little clickety clicks, but they don't sound very hi-hatty. What could we do about that? Well, we could maybe just turn them into some noisy mush with the vocoder. Oh, there we go. We're already dub technoing, we're already there. So yeah, so the thing that's interesting about this DS kick is that I really like it, but sometimes it doesn't always do the same thing twice. And that is clearly demonstrated here by the way that the vocoder here is responding to some of the attacks coming in, and also in conjunction with this delay, I suppose. So we could filter it. We're going to do a lot of filtering, a lot of delays, a lot of reverbs, a lot of resonators. It's going to be fun. So now we've got, let's just rename this return channel to hats or something. And now we can send also at the same time this kick drum into resonator A. So why don't we maybe, first of all, let's get a limiter. Let's put a limiter on our master, our main channel. That's very important. Make sure you do that. So I could add some delays to this resonator as well, either before or after. Let's maybe go with before. Let's put a delay here and just set this to 1/3. Yeah, already really, really good fun. So already, just by changing that decay on that resonator, I feel like I'm going on a journey. Could maybe make these hi-hats a little bit brighter somehow. There we go, just turn up the formant here. Now, because everything so far is being affected by this kick drum, if we change the kick drum, it's going to make a huge impact on all of the stuff that's on these return tracks. So if I apply like a little bit of distortion on this kick drum, wow, already that's pretty exciting. And then if it's a little bit too much, let's come back down a little bit, come back down. Yeah, so already you can see the potential for just sort of making these ever so discreet changes, but they kind of make a real difference on the overall feel of it, you know. Minimal in the sense that not really much is happening. We're really just kind of like opening and closing all kinds of different dynamic possibilities that could be going on in this. So let's maybe make another return track. I'm going to do this all with return tracks. This could be just like a sort of reverb type thing, just to add some space. We'll just get the generic reverb in, put that there, turn the dry wet up, and then maybe send the kick into this. Little bit of low pass, or low cut rather, on the way in. Take the high cut off. So obviously, like if we turn down the return track, the send on this track here, that's kind of goodbye hi-hats. Bring the hi-hats back. If we turn A down, that's kind of goodbye bassline resonator thing. But there's a bit of a problem, because if I mute the kick, that's the end of the song. Or if I solo the hats, okay, they keep going. I'm actually just going to take a slightly different approach. I'm going to make another audio track. I'm going to call this audio track. First of all, I'm going to make it a nice shade of blue. And then I'm going to rename it to Sender. And I'm actually going to route this track to this track and use this to send all the stuff. So let's send all these sends down. We could even turn them all off. We don't really need them. And then here we're going to go we're going to go from audio DS kick. Let's rename this, actually, make this all nice and clear. Let's rename this to kick. And then we'll go here and go route from kick. And I'm going to choose post effects, not post mixer. That means that I can get the audio from the track, even if the track is muted or turned down or something like this. So now if I was to say send, we need to have the monitor in. Is that right? And then maybe mute that. Oh, no, I remember. So, okay, this is important. So we go to monitor in, and rather than audio to main, we're going to go audio to sends only. So now this track won't go to the main track. It'll only go to the sends when I dial this in. So here you can see we're routing. We can't hear that track. We can't hear the kick track. But we can see the audio is coming in, and that is going only to the send. So if I dial this up, we're going to send A, now send B, and now send C. Now if I mute track 1, that all still keeps going in, because that is receiving the audio before the mixer stage. So we can mute our kick drum if we want in our jam. That's nice, isn't it? Now we're going to bring it back. Very nice. Okay, let's do some interesting stuff. Let's maybe make one more return track for later. Call this Resonator 2. All right, let's turn down the hats and the reverb and see what we can do with this resonator thing. So I'm going to get a limiter, put a limiter after this, and I'm going to sidechain it off this kick drum. So let's go and get the compressor. Where is it? Let's get the compressor. We'll put the compressor here. Open the sidechain tab. Go sidechain. I'm going to choose kick, and again I'm going to choose post effects, not post mixer. So let's see if this is working. Pull the threshold down. Yeah, we can hear that really ducking now, and you can actually see. I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I like to get those two things to meet. I don't know if that's right. I just think it looks fun. Okay, now I'm going to enable all the sends on this. I want to send all of these sends back into themselves and into each other in order to have more things to explore. I'm going to, what am I going to do? A little bit of saturation maybe after the resonator. Soft clip, bit of drive. And then maybe some filtering somewhere, maybe some filtering before the saturator. And I'm going to feed that back into itself, see what I get here. Time, we're going to get a completely different kind of rhythm. Completely different. Now it's a completely different song. Changed it to 5. Six. Let's put it back to 3. Let's bring the hi-hats back in. Yeah. Resonator, my bass line, into this reverb. Send this into send C. And the hi-hats as well. Beautiful. Okay, let's see if we can do something with this second resonator. Let's go and get the this resonator. See what we can do with this. Let's turn down the other ones for a minute. Just concentrate on this one. I'm going to do something very dangerous. So the root note is C. That's the same as on this one here, C1. So let's keep them all in the same key. I'm going to have this a minor third, a major third, a minor 7th, and a major 7th. It's not going to get any more intense than that. But I want to kind of like have something going on in the background to sort of excite this resonator in certain ways. This kick drum is just coming in. It's just making this rather sort of strange chord. Let's turn the filter off. Okay. I think maybe I'll go and get like the auto filter. Filter out the low end again. Just sort of get the clicks from the kick. And then maybe get the phaser flanger to kind of add like a different tone. Let's open the LFO, set this to random sample and hold. Phase, what's the phase? Yeah, no phase. Bit of feedback. slightly change the tone of the resonator. Okay, that's cool. A little bit more reverb. Let's put some reverb on this. Dry wet up. Size up quite high, I think. A lot of decay. The dynamic tube. This is the default setting I have for my dynamic tube. Drive all the way up, dry wet at about 40%, bias at about 52, which is this magic point, I think, for where it starts to crap out. Okay, that's nice. And then, yeah, get that compressor, that same compressor from the bassline channel. Let's put that on this resonator as well. At the end here. Maybe before the dynamic tube. No, afterwards. Maybe slightly more dry wet, 50%. Okay, and then a limiter at the end because I want to feed this back into itself as well. Let's see what we do if we feed that back into... Yes! Not too much. Hi-hats now. Yeah. Celebration guzzle of a non-alcoholic lager. Because it's 1 in the afternoon here. It's a little bit early. So we could keep going, but let's have a look at what we've got so far. Let's disable that send there. So feeding that bass line back into itself, let's call this bass reso. And let's call this one pad reso. Well, reso. So feeding the bass line back into itself is going to get that to do some stuff. Playing around with the filter whilst it's in the feedback loop. If we feed this bass line resonator now into send B, where the hats are, the changes that we make to the bass line are going to make an impact on the hi-hats. Little changes can make a really satisfying but quite drastic effect on the rest of the whole thing. I love it. Let's add a really, really slow LFO to this filter. We'll use the LFO that's built into the auto filter. Now I think the LFO is maybe... I don't really know how the LFO works in terms of if it's going either side of this value or above, but let's just dial a bit in, something like 5%. Delay time on the bass line. Let's have a look at the hats. Play around with these different bands. More bands, less bands. Increase the range. Bandwidth. Change the formant. The depth. the same compressor on the hi-hat as well that's being sidechained by the kick drum. Let's put that at the end here. A limiter on there as well. Let's feed that back into itself. Mute the kick. Everything keeps going because of the way we've routed it here. Solo the hats. They still work. Solo this resonator thing. That still works. Bring back the kick. Dial back how much of the kick we sent to the bass line. That's still going because we're feeding it back into itself. So here we've got kind of like a little bass line drop. Bring it back. How much it just changed just from me bringing that kick back in, bringing back the bassline resonator back in, because of the way that it's being sent to other things and on the returns. It just makes a huge difference. We can even send it to the pad resonator here. Let's do that again. Let's take the kick, the bassline out. Everything kind of cools down a little bit. Back. Everything heats up a little bit. Send this pad resonator back into itself a tiny bit here. Maybe a little bit of a low pass somewhere in here. High pass, I mean. Pull it down a little bit in the volume. Let's bring it. The volume down a bit here. A little bit of distortion on the kick drum. Starting to get a little bit hot. A little bit more decay on the spectral resonator. Stuff with this delay. With the auto pan. Put the auto pan after the vocoder. Set this to down ramp, but invert it. Set the time to something like 1/2. Rhythmic variation there. It's funky. Yes. Yes, people. This is music that you are either getting ready ready to take your drugs to. Or you're coming off them and you're thinking, oh, I really should go home, but I want to stay at the rave, but I really should go home. What a difficult decision. I know I should go to bed, but I'm lost in the rave. Or maybe you're not doing any of that at all and you're just watching on your lunch break. Yeah, those hats are funky. This is funky. Let's add more bands. Can you hear just these tiny little changes can sort of alter everything a tiny bit. Have a look at this resonator here. Try a different resonator mode. More feedback on the flanger that's exciting the resonator. Feed that back into itself a bit. A little bit too much feedback there, come back down. Let's maybe do a little bit of stuff on the main. Let's get the O to T to T T in. Group that. Get a drum bus on another chain. Pull the transients down. So now we've kind of got like a blend between this very compressed version or this version with the drum bus where the transients are sort of more muted. Solo the OTT version of the whole mix. That's kind of fun. I think I'm maybe going to delay this drum bus though a little bit, maybe by 6 samples. So even just doing that was exciting to me anyway. So again, minimal, not much is happening, but lots is happening behind the scenes. And it's just these very, very subtle changes that can just make a whole... We're really kind of playing with the dynamics. The dub aspect of it is that we're creating all of these layers by just sending the kick into all of these different processes of delays and reverbs. We could try a different kick drum pattern. So let's have this one more conventionally techno. Or we could have like a pattern that's maybe a little bit more like footworky or something. Good. And then if you change the delay time on your bass resonator in conjunction with what you've done to your kick, you can get a different feel. Yeah, that's good. It's a little difficult to know where the 1 is. So we can maybe make another return track that can do something that's looping on every bar. I'll just call this one like crash or something. It's not really going to be a crash cymbal, but I'm just going to feed loads of noise into it. Let's pull all these down. So that's going to kill all the, well, not kill all the kill all the resonators, but deplete them. And then let's maybe get something like maybe we could use like spectral time on this one. Turn the dry wet up. set the re-trigger to sync for every bar. Send that in. See if that's working. Okay, we've got a spectral freeze of like just that low end. So maybe we could do something like filter out the low end and put like some just some reverb on here to make some sort of cloud. There we go. Okay, let's restart the transport and just see if that's... There we go. I'm only getting it on one side, which is a bit weird. Let's try a fade out here. It's just a little something to just remind us where the one is. Actually, I'll tell you what we could do. Let's not use the fade in or fade out. Let's just use auto pan. Let's put auto pan after this and have this going at a rate of 1 with the ramp down and just dial that up like that. Yeah. And then maybe like some delay here. Okay, let's bring everything back in. Enable all the sends here, enable all these ones, all these ones, all this, enable all the sends. We're going to have this massive send network. So even just turning that one down, because I'm routing so much of this bass resonator into all of these other ones, just turning down the initial one just makes a huge difference. Bringing it back. Nice. Muting that track as well kills everything here. So this is a very weird way to work, but it's really relaxing. You just click and drag a few things and everything goes so mad, and then you just dial it back and it all cools down. I love it. That's it. I can't go on anymore. Otherwise, I'll be here all day. I would quite happily sit here and do that all day. But now it's your turn to go away and do that. Or if you don't want to, then you can just go to my Patreon and download this and have fun yourself. So there you go. Minimal dub techno. Just a kick drum and a load of delays and reverbs on sends, resonators, feeding them back into themselves, feeding them into each other. It's just a big party. I hope you enjoyed it. Go and grab it on Patreon. Your support is the best. Thanks. See you next time. Bye. Have fun.